And with me now, Republican strategist Susan Del Percio and former Republican Congressman David Jolly, both of whom are MSNBC political analysts. Hey, kids, good to see you both. So, Susan, do you get the sense that Matt Gaetz was the sacrificial lamb so that these other picks, questionable as some may be, will now get approved because senators can then say, hey, look, we did draw the line somewhere?
Not necessarily. What I think Matt Gaetz was is a way of testing how far the former president and president-elect thought he could go. I don't think he did it as a sacrificial lamb. I think he was hoping he could get it through, but it didn't work out that way. I also think it shows a lot about how the president-elect's vetting process is going. It's been reported that the choice of Matt Gaetz was done off the cuff. It wasn't done with the full thoughtfulness of the vetting committee, as weak, in my opinion, as it is, because they are using private investigators to do background checks, which is just shown to prove completely inept. But again, maybe showing off the worst he could get, or maybe seeing to see how much more he could get away with.
So with your logic there at the beginning, does that mean you think there will be other picks that will not be confirmed?
I do think there will be a couple of other picks that will not be confirmed. I think Senator Klobuchar was right about talking about those FBI background checks. Those are essential. In my opinion, I don't see why the FBI can't start doing it now. The committees can request a background check on those if the traditional agreement between an incoming administration is not reached. But the public hearings of these nominees are going to be brutal, Alex, and it's not just going to be from Democrats. The other thing that's worth noting is we have almost 2 months before these people would actually become serving in a cabinet. That's a lot of time to be out there and having people dig.
So, David, in addition to allegations of sexual assault, which he denies, Pete Hegseth may have some other issues getting confirmed as defense secretary. In one of his books, he wrote, if Democrats won the election, there would be some form of civil war, and the military would be forced to make a choice. And then that book called for an American crusade. Hegseth has a crusader tattoo, which is tied to white nationalists. He has said that the cross is a symbol of his Christian faith. But in the book, Hegseth also talks about defeating internal enemies. Does all this make him too politically toxic to lead the military?
It should in normal political times, but Donald Trump has nominated a team that reflects his personal ethos. And I guess recent history has suggested that Republicans, even Republican senators, are often ready to back Donald Trump's personal ethos and the political journey that he's taking the nation on. But that doesn't mean any of these people are qualified. And so just as the inspection of Hegseth's fitness and record will occur at a hearing, so will the inspection of the fitness of Republican senators, because Hegseth, everything you just said raises enough eyebrows that says, why has this person even been selected? As Max Rose said, he's wholly unqualified. He's not talking about war fighting. He's not talking about the posture of the department. He's talking about DEI and other culture war issues. He is unqualified to serve, and that in itself should bring pause for Republican senators. I think the fact that Gaetz is now out makes this harder for Hegseth. I'm afraid he gets through because I think folks like Lindsey Graham will wrap themselves in the flag and say Hegseth has 20 years of military experience. He's also deeply rooted in Republican politics, including the Koch brothers network. So I think his network will be just strong enough. But this gets very difficult for Hegseth. And these are actually the hearings, to Susan's point, that the nation needs to see. The nation needs to understand that when Donald Trump got elected, we get Pete Hegseth.
So then the same question to Susan. Do you think there will be other, that I asked Susan, but I'm asking it of you, do you think there will be other nominations that don't get through?
I don't know based on what we know now. I mean, truly, Hegseth should probably be withdrawn at this point, but I think they're going to put the pedal to the metal and try to get him over the finish line. Based simply on the posture of Republican senators, I say this with disappointment, I don't see anyone else that gets withdrawn or fails a vote.
So what about, David, with Trump having confirmed that he plans to use the U.S. military to declare a national emergency and assist in mass deportations? I mean, he also wants to end birthright citizenship. Will he have enough loyalists in the various departments to make this happen?
I think the courts become one of the focal points of the first year or two of a Trump administration. And understandably, Donald Trump has reshaped the courts also in his image. But for Democrats who are thinking, how do we handle this politically? How do we push back politically? The traditional levers are there. But in the first Trump administration, the courts actually stopped a lot of Donald Trump's worst impulses. Now, it made him go back and fine tune them and figure out how he made his wishes constitutional and then try them a second time. But if he unleashes the military on domestic soil to engage in mass deportation, I suspect courts will immediately put a stop to that. And we will see litigation over that for months to come.
And to that end, Susan, attorneys general in Democratic states, they plan to take Trump to court if needed to stop him from misusing the military for his deportations. Could some of Trump's efforts get so tied up in court that they don't end up happening?
Absolutely. I just want to go back to Hegseth for 1 minute, Alex,
Sure.
and just highlight, I think his biggest stumbling block will be his position on women serving in combat in the military. We have women like Joni Ernst, who are Republican senators, who have served in those roles. So I think that will actually be, if anything, one of the top things that take him down. As far as Donald Trump goes and the mass deportation, I kind of look at it more of the I will build a wall in 2016 and Mexico will pay for it. Mass deportation is going to be extremely difficult, expensive, and to handle the logistics of it. I think he will do it in very small steps. First, doing, frankly, the low-hanging fruit for this type of administration, which is to go after the criminals. He will do that and say he has started mass deportation. He will use the rhetoric to get there. He will do a stay in Mexico policy saying, I am stopping it and I will get ready to do even more deportation. So I think that, again, until we see what he does, we have to be a little tempered in what we say we're going to do.
Okay, Susan and David, I'll look forward to seeing you guys again. Happy Thanksgiving to my extended Sunday family.
You as well.
Thanks, guys.